and we have two more that are coming down. So I think all of you have already seen these commending resolutions. The first one's yours, as a matter of fact, Senator Michelle. But we'll take them up in block items 1 through 6. 1 through 5. Yeah, I tried, Kevin. I tried. 1 through 5. Thank you so much for correcting me on that. So, do I hear a motion that we take up items 1 through 5 in block? All right, thank you. And so, all in favor of 50, let's see, Senate resolutions 58, House concurrent resolution 58. How about that? That's not right, is it?
Yes.
It is. That's, wow. Okay, HCR 76, 77, and 78. All in favor? We're voting on the resolutions, guys, right now. We were buying time here. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, we'll get to the item number 6. It's HCR number 586. And Senator Blackwell, it's I believe this is actually your bill, isn't it? So you're here to explain it. Senate concurrent resolution 586. Yes, sir. Might want to use the mic. I'm sorry.
This resolution is a suspension resolution to allow us to go back and enact a bill that will be called the Mississippi Medical Marijuana Act. And the reason for this is I don't believe that there's two issues, as you know, that are going to be on the ballot for marijuana. If those pass, they're going to go into Constitution. And I don't believe that medical marijuana laws ought to be in the Constitution. I think it ought to be something by statute that we can regulate and manage on a year-to-year basis. And all this is suspending the rules to be able to do that. The process will be we suspend the rules, pass this resolution, it'll have to go to the House, and it pass over there before I can drop a bill. And that's an explanation.
Questions on the resolution? Recognize for question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Blackwell. So it's my understanding in November we have a medical marijuana be on the ballot, and there'll be two options: one to put it on the Constitution, and one to put it in statute. Is that correct?
No, sir. Both are for in the Constitution.
Both would go into the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
So tell me again, why do we need this one here?
Well, if we pass this, there's no need for there to be anything in the Constitution.
Plus, tell me if I'm wrong, which I have been many times, but if both fail on the ballot, then this law would go into effect.
No, sir. We pass this. Whenever we pass it, it would become law and passage or whatever date that we set.
The others will still be on the ballot.
They would be on the
And
ballot.
if one of those passes on the ballot, this would still be in effect?
I would imagine there'd be a number of interested parties seeking to defeat those on the ballot.
Yeah, that's not the way I understood it, but that's the way it is. Misunderstood.
So if we pass this and the bill is introduced and passed and signed by the governor, it would be statutory, but it would be subservient to any constitutional amendment that's passed if it passes in November, though.
That I don't know. Legal opinion on that.
But it's my understanding anything in the Constitution would override statute. So if something were to pass in November, it would override anything that was passed in the statute.
If your statement is correct, yes, sir, that'd be correct.
So why would you not wait until after November to determine whether or not you need this? Come back in January.
going to have Constitution, bill or language in the Constitution that allows for medical marijuana, and almost the unlimited management of it. The bill gives us the authority to manage and regulate and protect the interest of the people.
I understand that. So why do this now, instead of waiting until next year, January, to see whether or not this is even necessary, determine whether you need this?
Well, it's going to, one of those initiatives is going to pass. So if it's in the Constitution, there's nothing we can do.
Right, so that's my point. So if it's in the Constitution, which overrides a statute, why would you need a statute now? Why not wait and see until January?
My understanding
regulate
is it's a very good chance, because of the formula you have to use for a constitutional amendment, there's a very good chance that both of those would fail. And if both of them do fail, because it's not one or the other type, I mean, you got 40% of the total votes in the general election or something, so if they both do fail, this would be in effect, is my understanding.
That would be my understanding as well, so.
Her question, Mr.
But
Chair.
if one of those passes, then my understanding, and again, I'm not the attorney, but if one of those passes, then this would not, it would supersede ours.
So what you're saying is this is a backstop in case the both of them fail in November. We want to be on the books and ready and say, hey, we got something on statute. We can still regulate it and move forward.
Sure,
Plus,
it could be
Senator,
presented
I
like
think
that.
you said this, but the fact of it is, we can't amend a constitutional amendment. But if it's in statute, we can come back if we see that we've made some mistake and actually amend.
Under the constitutional provision, it's pretty much unlimited. It would be a free-for-all. Under statute, we can regulate that, control.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Her
Any
question.
other, Senator Parker?
I think I have a kind of similar question, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. So I remember several years ago we had Initiative 42 on the ballot, and there were a couple of choices there. And I remember before that, a number of people at least told me that they thought one of those two was going to pass. And the election was held, and neither of those passed in that situation. And so I've had people tell me that they're positive that that's going to pass, but I'm just not sure that it's going to pass. But if we pass this, because we're worried that that might pass, are we not just immediately, without a whole lot of discussion and talk about how we need to do this and how we need to set medical marijuana programs in action, are we not just passing medical marijuana because we think it's going to pass anyway?
This is just a suspension, so there has not been a bill dropped yet. And so it would be my intentions if we pass this is to work with some legislators and to develop a bill that could be acceptable by everybody.
Would that bill possibly be a bill that says that we, as a result of that being dropped, we might add medical marijuana, or would that be a bill that says that we're doing that now? You know, and again, my concern on this, because even when we see council at the table here today asking and telling us that they haven't seen this, is that this has been a very long session for a lot of us. This is an issue I understand, and I've had people approach me about it, and I don't want to get into that, but the timing of it at the end of this session just seems to be just a little rushed. And I think this is something that, you know, if the Constitution is changed by the vote, then we didn't really do that as a legislature. But I know on other things that we have taken up this session, I've been challenged on the reasons for doing something quick, and I'm trying to make sure that we're not acting in haste.
I'm with you, Senator Parker. It's my understanding that we do not have to drop a bill immediately. So my intentions would be to pass this and then start working on drafting a bill, and which would not hinder our ability to get out of here this week.
Well, I just met before this committee, on workforce development, and I had a senator who wanted to offer an amendment to a bill that I had brought up. And I discouraged him from offering the amendment because that bill was double referred, had to go to another committee, and if we amended it, it would change the process and it would have to go back to the House. I just think we're guaranteeing ourselves being here next week by passing this bill, and I'm just concerned that it's not something that has got the attention right now that it needs. That's just my comment on it.
Thank you.
Well, Senator Parker, my understanding is, of course, this is only a suspension resolution giving us the authority, or the Senate and the House, the authority to bring a bill up. So the bill, if we pass this, it allows the bill to be brought up, and it could even be in October, I understand. So it doesn't have to be tomorrow or today. But the other thing, as I've heard many times, that 70% of the people in this state want medical marijuana. And I think if nothing else, this is making a statement to the people that we're listening to them, that we understand that they want medical and medical only marijuana. And now I don't know what the percent is for just others, but anyway, for medical marijuana, my understanding that all the polls are showing that 70% of the people do.
Mr. Chairman, if we could on that then, because that wasn't my understanding that we could do what you've described there, would you consider it a friendly amendment to put a provision in here that we allow this suspension resolution to allow that bill to be brought up when we reconvene in October?
I'd rather not at this point. Now, if you want to offer that on the floor, but I'd rather not in this committee. I'd like for us to go ahead so that we can get it onto the House, and my understanding is that we can pass this. If you're talking about staying here extra days, that might cause that. So, now, of course, you can amend the bill whenever the bill's brought up too. I mean, this is really not the bill at all. It's only for drafting an introduction and consideration of passage of a bill. It's whatever the committee wants. You guys want to matter? Not in favor of the amendments? Okay. Offer it.
I'll offer the amendment. I don't mind losing.
Okay. All right. What's your
My
amendment?
amendment would be that we pass this bill, but we include a provision that we would take this up when we reconvene in October to allow us to expeditiously do this, if that is possible, as has been discussed in the committee.
Barr?
I'd like to speak on the amendment, Mr. Chairman. Proper time. The reason we would come back in October, and it's very specific in the HCR 69, I believe, only if there is new federal money coming down, or if the rules regarding the money that has been dispensed, appropriated to us, have changed. We are not allowed to come back for any other reason. For those reasons, I would vote no, and ask my colleagues to vote no on the amendment.
Mr. Chairman, if that is the provision of the rules we have set out, then my amendment doesn't matter. So I will withdraw my amendment under those provisions.
So I was incorrect in that we could bring it up in October when I said that. All right. Now, any other questions on the suspension resolution? By the way, I understand, I don't know this, but I was told probably that the actual bill, whenever it is dropped in, if the House passes this concurrent resolution, will go to public health, not come to this committee. All right, now, your motion. No further questions, I hear a motion. All sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
3-1 vote, the bill has passed, or the resolution has passed. Now, do I hear a rise and report? Thank you very much.